I am covering all bets tonight. Getting on here early, Thursday night show, Thursday night research, watch list, and everything else that goes along with it, because I will be out tomorrow. I won't be able to get the watch list out tomorrow, so I'm going to work on it tonight, get it out tonight. Going to do it live with you if you're out there with me. Because I have a good watch list. Most of the things were in here. You know, I know a lot of people at Day Trading Radio. We're in certain stocks together. Some of them I'm going to update those. Things are looking really good right now. I mean, futures up 16. Tremendous earnings out of Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, all of them. Market's going to be up big tomorrow. The only thing that you wonder is it sell the news event? Can it get any better? You know, sometimes things look so good, you sell into that. You know, you don't know exactly. So one stock I got into after the close, well, not after the close, but right before the close was ZSAN. Mr. Land came out and he announced some kind of billion-dollar order for needles for vaccination, needles and stuff, and that made sense. And that one stock started running. Everything sounded good, so I jumped in too. I think I got in. I think just 400 shares at. Well, let me bring it up here. Whatever it was. Z all the way down on the bottom. I'm in $1.02. $1.02. I thought it was in better than that, but I have 400 shares at $1.02. So it's getting back up there, and this is after hours right now. And I didn't even look. I want to probably use tonight and look into that news, the ZSAN news, because it might be a runner tomorrow. At least you have it. It's running tonight. If you're with me, it's running. I'm in it. I'm holding on to it. I will be here tomorrow, just in the morning, probably till about 12 o'clock, and then I have to go get my surgery on my eye. So that's why I'm getting the watch list out today. I won't be able to be in the office tomorrow or next couple of days recovering. So, but I plan to be back on Monday. Eye patch and all. Apple still pushing, and again, you will see the stock still running here after hours at 7:14, and stock after hour stock trading ends at 8 o'clock. And that starts the first topic of conversation today. We started concentrating on understanding a little bit more the power of Robinhood. And, I looked up what their trading times are, because there's good brokers, there's great brokers, and then there's you got these Robinhoods, and I don't know what it is. I don't even know what it is. I haven't looked at it once. But it's starting to attract. It gets such good branding. It's always mentioned. Even when they go down, it's mentioned. And it has that Nicky name on it. It's like a millennial. It's like, and you feel that's what's, and they probably have a big community now, and that feeds the market, and it all feeds on itself. So we started paying attention to that time frame, because we know now that Robinhood, the earliest you can trade is at 9 o'clock. And the latest you could trade is 6 o'clock. So we noticed at 9 o'clock we were watching some of the early movers. I think it was Kodak and Candy, I believe. And one of them got a bigger pop than the other. But right at 9 o'clock we got the volume started coming in. And they're like piranha. They go right to the most active stocks, and they start feeding on it. And lots of times they'll get it going, and then it's piranha, and then it'll gap. And what happened the other day with the one that it was Kodak, right? It just incredible. Then there was one today that I didn't get into, and it did a reverse split. So that's the next topic of conversation. Other than just talking about the Robinhood, opening times of trading, that time frame might be worth watching and see, especially for the more active stocks in the pre-market trade. So watch those ones that are leading, and when you get a big community of traders that are using that platform, are able to turn it on, and they have a, they're using the old strategy of going after, the most active stocks and stuff. So there's always an opportunity there. Apple declared a 4-to-1 split after the close today with their earnings, and Apple was probably the last big stock I've ever remember doing a split, and they were the last ones that really split. We talked about that earlier this week. Me and Anthony were talking about Tesla splitting, but who splits anymore? And we just used the example of Apple split. That was the only other one that really split, and of course it worked out. And always the question is, what happens with a split? Do you buy the split? Do you sell the? Do you buy into the split? There's all. Again, sometimes you can't make a case for anything, or else because it's not like that. It would be too easy, and nothing's easy in the market. Every time a split is announced, buy the split and sell before. That's what I think the consensus is, and I think a lot of people would say you buy after the announcement of the split and you sell before the split, thinking there'll be a run-up into that. But I never did any studies on it because it doesn't happen anymore. I like doing study, working out and remembering and having lots of notes and notes and notes and going back, and that's how I kind of have probabilities on certain patterns and know which patterns work better at which situation. And to the angle of the line too. Sometimes there'll be a pattern with a very low angled line, maybe 17 degrees versus one that's at 45 degrees. In history, it was history. We were splitting a hell of a lot back in the tech days. I mean, the splits were perfect for the market. Everyone expected them, and some people would do them crazy splits. And then it died. I don't even remember. Like I said, the only stock I remember is Apple. And if you look back at when they announced their split and what it was, I couldn't even tell you. I am sure you're up, hundreds of percents, But I didn't do the thing. And again, I would say it's probably bullish. You had to go with the old adage. It's the and I think this works more. That's why it is more of a a known thing, because it works more and people remember it. Especially with a stock like Apple. Apple, you just, like someone mentioned earlier, Jim Cramer says Apple is not a stock you trade. It's a stock you buy and just hold. It's just so hard to from what I remember, after the split, sometimes it was either way, and I kind of remember a negative memories of post-split type of trades. I think I enjoy the run-up into a split much more than buying the so-called splitted stock afterwards. About to pick up the beginning of the HPS watch list going into next week, and actually early look at it this week. So let me get started on that. We already started talking about some stocks that I recorded, and don't forget, if you get this late, you get in here and you think you missed something. I recorded it from the beginning, so we have everything set up for us. Now, I wanted to talk about this one stock that TAOP. Just because of the reverse split. They did announce the reverse split.
Tradometer ES overbought.
And then just exploded.
NQ overbought.
Now, it's pulled back a lot. But I've seen this before. When this was happening, I said, that was that goddamn reverse split. I said, you know what? You know who's going to come out with reverse split? Intrepid Potash is the perfect candidate for a reverse split. And then what do I see today? After the close today, on the news, I'm trying to drag it over here. I don't think I could drag it over here because it's on a different computer. But I'll read it to you right now. So listen to this, if I can find it. All right, IPI orders. All right, Intrepid Potash announces stockholder approval of reverse split proposal and receipt of New York Stock Exchange confirmed listing standard notice. So everything's confirmed and approved for a stock split here on IPI. So who's been calling for a stock split on IPI and then a squeeze higher? Perfect one. They even make some money. So I would watch for this. This is one of my favorite ones, just based off of that, and it hasn't done anything. You know, I mean, it's at 80-something cents. So that one is definitely on the watch list, and continue to hold that strong and long IPI. And then I'm starting off with some of these cheaper ones because they're holding up and they actually have a story behind them. The VTGN is the Vista Therapeutics, and it has that nasal spray that fights depression and suicidal tendencies, not the band. It is starting to move up, and I continue to, and I said this in the beginning, I said I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of people kind of get affected by this in some kind of post-traumatic COVID syndrome where they're scared to go out, or just something, whatever. I don't know how it's going to manifest itself, but in some way, and it's always going to be surrounding depression and stuff. Well, anyway, they have a couple drugs in the pipeline with nasal spray for depression and SAD or SAD, and I just, again, it's working in our favor. So I want to continue to hold that and continue to press this. I just think we're going to go higher on this. And then there's the INPX. And sometimes I wonder why these things don't move. And I wondered that for a long time on Mark. And then I probably got so frustrated with Mark. Once it started moving, I got out of it. But, the fact is, eventually, you have it. Eventually, they will come. And they will chase it. So Merck was, an imaging, thermo imaging temperature thing and I've researched this out here back here before I moved and stuff, and was all about it, and well, it moved, and I got out so early in this, and when it went back up here, so I kind of put this INPX on that same situation. I'm kind of frustrated that it's not moving yet. But I think when it does go, it could really go. So I am long and strong on that one. And any of these things, when I say long and strong, until it gets to an area where you can analyze on the go the news versus the move. And if it's BS or has COVID attached or something like that, you should be able to see through these things and not get caught up on it. Because you hear something like an article came out talking about that, and the thing spikes 200%. Most likely it's going to retrace some. I mean, unless there's any substantial, tangible news. But they're waiting for news, and it gets interest, and it'll pop, and it'll run, and then the sellers will come in, and it'll settle back down. So be ready for these. All right, so INPX here. And of course, the one that I've been really pushing as the best bet most of the week, LVGO. And it really moved today. It moved yesterday, and it's breaking out right now. And look at the rotation here. We're not even back up there yet. We're not even back up on that level. I mean, in either way, if this was going to turn over, we'd still get that higher high. So definitely we're going to get a higher high tomorrow, even if this started turning over and giving us a divergence signal to the downside, but I don't see that happening. This is exactly what my cousin's in it. I told him to get in it. He got in at like 311. He's like, or whatever it is, 111, or maybe 110. And maybe even lower than that. He texted me today, continue to hold it. I said, yeah. I think we get to 140 on it. I think I'll start selling at 130 though, and hope that I don't look back and it says it's $300, which it probably will be. So I want to try to figure out a longer term strategy on this. Trying to be in and out of it, but I don't want to give up good gains, and we're going to have great gains in this. And we're pulling away, and it's just, you got to stick to the business plan. You stick to the business plan, and you just get into a habit of doing it, and it helps in the long run. Because right now, maybe the right thing is to let this thing go and believe in your gut that it's going to, but that would require, management and probably just buying the shares on it, taking up a lot more capital. So LVGO continues to go, looking for more upside.
Tradometer NQ overbought.
Would again probably would take some off at 130, and I regret it probably, but also trying to figure out another way of, staying in this trade or taking advantage of any opportunities in it. So this looks great. It's working perfect, and the net here is coming alive too. I started taking little profits on it today, but I knew right when I did that it would give it the Rockstar effect, and the rest of my shares went up nice. Look at that break higher, and it closed higher. I think even into the close, it was grinding higher, over 42. Serious, all day long this thing was grinding higher, and look at this. This is from pre-market to aftermarket. There is some serious buying in this. It's like there is something about to happen. I mean, this is more of buying that, I would. It's happened before all this earnings stuff. It's just something out there. Something's a little interesting on that one. Oh, the tradometer, I could do that. I built the tradometer. The tradometer, the rockbot, and the rambot. Rambot is the original. Bot we had on here, and it's still on the dashboard. It's right in the lower middle there, and that is a divergence indicator. It's a divergence indicator for 3-minute and 5-minute divergences. Or they, hold on, let me see. Which one are we talking about? We're talking about the ram bot, ram in the bush bot. So I started that one first. I did the coding myself, and it runs off of my machine using some code that I built, that I wrote for TC2000. And that we have that connected actually to your alerts. So what I always say, if you're a member, you go up to your alert section and you'll see all different types of alerts you could get. You get alerts on my trade alerts, HPS alerts. You also see the Rambot alerts there. And the Rambot alerts are 5-minute divergence. I think I stopped at 3-minute. But the 5-minute I recommend, because that kind of gives you a very rusty kind of view of a divergence setting up. Then it forces you to look at the market. So it gives you an audio alert on that. The tradometer is another high probability methodology type of trade where we talk about multiple time frames. And our first number one indicator, the foundation indicator, is the stochastic oscillator. And we know how well it works, when the 60 and the daily work together. It's like your entry for a long should always be based off the 60 period time frame. If you're decided to get in and you're happy with where the daily stochastics are, maybe they started trending up and you want to be part of that, you can wait for that 60 minute to rotate down and give you an opportunity to get in. It's usually a good opportunity, especially when the daily is already rotating higher. So it kind of drags up that 60. There's a lot of forces at work there. So the tradeometer measures the stochastics on the S&P cash, and the futures, and it melds them together. And it combines the 1 minute and the 5 minute, the ES and the S&P, and it gives you the indicators when they're in tune and they are lined up, both overbought and oversold. And then you get the alerts. So that's a momentum rotation indicator. And then the rockbot is a divergence, a high, a really good divergence. I call it an indicator because it's meant to be a view type of thing. Shadow the rockbot. It'll alert you to the divergences in the market. There's so much else going on that you need to know to be able to plan out your trade into a divergence, depending on where the trend is, how much you're going to be looking for on that divergence, how much to expect based on current trends. It's so important. You could get a divergence, but a quick failure, but you might be able to pull out a couple ticks out of that. And understanding that is important. So you have to know, the different time frames. It's so important. Where the 60 is and the 5 is, the daily, the 1 minute gets a little tight. That's for micro traders and just to keep us busy. But that 5 minute, definitely a big trending time frame. All right, you want me to explain the super signal? That's good. I do have a super signal, and I should run it here. I've just been really testing out this new, upgrade I was doing. It works good, so I'm gonna somehow to get this out to you very soon. I gotta protect it, but that's working good. So we'll have to update that, and then the super signal is still active. I just haven't put it up there. Let me see.
Tradeometer ES overbought. Tradometer ES overbought.
And the red call. Did you have number for the red cross? And if I want to do, we'll take care of the seat.
I'm listening to a police scanner here. An alert came up. There was kind of crazy stuff happening.
Rescue the hydrant, Charger, 107.2.
I can't even hear him. Most. No, I can't stand this. I can't do this. All right, so let's get back. Let's finish this up. Big day here. So what were you up to here? Oh well, you know what? Can I do the super signal after I finish the the watchers in the video, because I want to get that, make sure I get that out, and then if I all the time I have left over, I'd love to go over with the super signal and set it up for you, everything. But let me. I gotta get this done because I'm not gonna be able to get it done tomorrow. I get sidetracked by myself. I'm trudging on here. I'm trudging on. The LVGO here after hours 2565, and we're about 5 minutes to go until the close here. So we are seeing some stocks move around a little right as the 5 o'clock time frame, especially the ones like Apple. You'll probably see this pop right at the highs. It's right at the highs right now. eBay got a nice little bounce. And this would be nice for the markets tomorrow. I tell you what, how Amazon knocked it out of the park. Expect Walmart to probably do the same. I don't know. Did they come out with earnings already? Walmart? We need to check that. We need to really check that fast, because I didn't check the after hours here on Walmart. But Amazon here crushing it because of the pandemic. Some people are going to be using Walmart too. It's all going to trickle over to everyone. So let's take a look here what happened after hours, if there is anything. Well, it popped a little and basically went sideways. Now, are people looking at this and saying, well, Walmart is getting crushed by Amazon? Or are they going to look at it another way that, all right, we're all going to get some of the loot? We'll have to see how it reacts tomorrow. I would expect I would expect to get a little pop on Walmart. I just don't think it had any interest. Anybody was interested after hours today. But we have to figure out when August 18th. August 18th. So, you know what? That's pretty good. You know, it gives you time before that. If there is a pullback, I would buy that going into earnings. This is a little pullback right here. I wouldn't be surprised to get a nice pop tomorrow. It's just not showing up in the post market. All right, so with those already discussed, the few cheap ones and the few strong ones that are working really good. Another thing I wanted to do for this watch list, which we haven't done in a while, is review the IBD's top 50 and just kind of go through those charts and see which ones are going to be the next ones that break out, because you know, we expect the market to continue to grind higher unless there's some really, really tangible news that we can grab onto and understand the effect on this. Other than that, you know, later on tonight I'll do a little bit more research on how the Fed is affecting this market and how the processes go down. That's one thing I want to do. So I want to get this out fast, and then I want to do another video with my research and, you know, see what we can find on that. Because as far as I could tell, you know, if you could track the Fed's involvement in the market and how the market's been reacting, and they came out just yesterday and said we're going to continue to do this for the unseeable future way, and you know, and we're going to continue at the same pace. So that just tells me the market's going to continue to react in the same way. It's just, you know, wait until the FOMO crowd gets in. We're looking at the I forgot to turn on the video again. CHGG. So I said, slow down, Johnny. Giving out some good information. CHGG. That's a really nice chart. It just broke out. Probably has some follow through tomorrow. A lot of stocks like this are looking like this. They're coiled back up. They're embedded up here. They're very strong. You know, follow through day. A couple follow through days here. Sell into that strength and then sit back, relax. It looks good. Education and training services. How good is this? I don't know much about it, but if I could put, you know, again, if it was something I could relate to in a way that, oh yeah, I know that my son's going to use that in his school. Yeah, I'd be more into saying, let it ride. But that looks really nice. Nice chart. Have to look into it a little bit more. NVIDIA, we know NVIDIA right up around $400, $500. Palomar Holdings, it's always up there. Viva Systems, I know that one too. Let me look at that chart fast. Wow, these things are just cranking on cruise control. I mean, just on cruise control. From the lows, you know, from the March lows, we're going over the IBD 50, and again, one more time, just starting at the top, AMD, CHGG, NVIDIA. A lot of these we already know. I'm just going through them, seeing if there's something I did not really check too much, or, you know, we looked at Tractor Supply Company, which seems to be set up pretty good. Zoom is up on the list. I haven't looked at that in a while. Microsoft. Dynatrace, I've been following that one. Dollar Tree, I've been following that. Kroger, yeah, again, a lot of good names. NBIX, let's take a look at that one. NBIX, it's the last one on the list. All right, well, it's a pullback. I'm not familiar with their drugs, anything going on here. I do like this NK, though. Let's go over that NK one more time. NK. That seems to be holding up pretty good. and they have some drugs, and they have that pancreatic cancer drug that's in trials, and they have a COVID, something going on with COVID. And it's just, the chart is hanging in there. It's hanging in there pretty good. If we pull back to the 50, I'd feel comfortable with this. Might even add to it back here. The stochastic is getting oversold quickly, and while we hold that 20 in, the candle today was pretty good, and the volume here was better. So it's, maybe we are seeing just to turn back up right now. I like this. Probably number, on the cheapies. Between, I still like that IPI as number one. I think there's going to be some finagling with their stock to it, and how this thing is going to make a reverse split and then pop off of that. Probably better to buy it after reverse split, but we'll see what happens tomorrow. VTGN, again, still like an INPX, and then I would say NK. Follow up those cheaper stocks. And NK is not cheap. It's $13, not a penny stock. eBay, the pullback, and again, we took an opportunity on buying the gap down here, thinking we could reverse and just move higher. Well, we closed pretty good. Should continue tomorrow the way things are. Again, if you weren't going to Amazon, you were going to eBay. But eBay, I believe, came out with earnings, and just didn't, didn't really perform too much. But I think we're going to reverse here fast. We're already oversold tomorrow. The ZSAN is microneedles for vaccines, and I just want to come double check that by going to Zosano Pharmaceutical Company. Zosano, Z-O-S-A-N-O. All right. Zosano Pharma. Migraine treatment. Take a look at the technology. Microneedles. So I see what they're saying here. The system of single entity combination product which comprises a reusable applicator and a microneedle array containing patch for intracutaneous drug delivery, allowing rapid absorption into the bloodstream. The microneedle array patch is applied to the skin using a ready-to-use and reusable handheld applicator. Doesn't sound like a vaccine patch. What are you going to get, a vaccine patch? But I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Do they sell? I would think they would sell needles, right? I don't know if you knew microneedles were vaccine. I don't know the answer to that. Someone help me. Someone help me on that one, because it did get a pop. We'll probably get a little follow through. And if it is true that we use microneedles like that for vaccines, then I'm saying all aboard. All aboard, I'm saying. It's a replacement for people who are scared of needles, maybe. Well, even though we have earnings coming up on Merck, it is holding that trend line. And it held it today, came back up above it, closed good, back above the 50 and the 20 period moving averages too. Autodesk, nothing. A lot of sideways stuff. Not a big fan of sideways crap here. Africa ETF, AFLAC, and it is very frustrating to see this, but in some cases you could pull up something good. The APLS here gave us a good candle. It's oversold. Looking for that rounded move back up. AUPH has been disappointed, but it is holding a lower trend line. Say we get back over $14 and start grinding back up. But damn it, yeah, it's nothing good there. Boeing, I do like Boeing here. The 160s. 160. I've been considering looking at Boeing. I might start to look at the options on this. See if we can time something. The candle looked really good today. So, you know, it's kind of a reversal. Flushed the recent lows, kind of broke down through that underlying channel line. It goes out to the beginning of June or July. Yeah, June. And, you know, we got back, almost back above it. So, it's coiled up to the downside. I like it. Like it. A strong stock, BDX. Bill is starting to ramp. Bristol Myers, even look at these. Bristol Myers sideways for the last month. A lot of these are just sideways. Just awful. Slowly moving up. Clorox, Chipotle, CRISPR. It's a nice pullback. Pure Leaf. Nice we got out of that one. I would, you know, again, watch the pullback here and look to re-enter. West Diagnostics. I always liked Walt Disney. Sideways. All of it. Dead. Dead. You know, I hate to tell you, it's the momentum trades are the ones you're trying to catch, or sometime a catalyst, being in something, getting that catalyst and getting out. Ecor, that was one of them. Fastenal looks great still. Facebook, FedEx looks good. Being good stocks, nothing to worry about. Gilead, not doing anything there. And again, that was a COVID play too, Gilead. Corning here, still pushing higher. Hack is the ETF for cybersecurity, looking very strong. It's not long. That's a good long-term, easy basket of stocks to hold. Interactive Corp looks pretty good. Considering you can't go to the bars anymore, then you're going to be looking at Match.com again, right? Let's see if we have Match.com on this. That's got to be at the highs. I haven't looked at that one in a while. Here's those these SPACs, which are not doing anything. These three stocks I just went through. Like Kraft looks good. I mean, the Kimberly Clark, the Coca-Cola. Those are the good names. MDRX and it popped. We haven't looked at 3M. 3M sideways. Most of these sideways. Mosaic sideways. Merck kind of on that trend line. We talked about that one. NCR off that lower trend line. We talked about that. We got that pop reversal. CloudNet, you know about that one. NK, I like it. Holding the 20. This is the RPRX, Royalty Pharmaceuticals. Not really doing much. I'm just rolling through these real fast. I'm up to T's already. It's a good. This is a real lightning round. The lightning round is happening here, Day Trading Radio. But again, not seeing tractor supply coming. I like it. I like to pull back to the 20. Stealth mover. I mean, just look at this. It's not exciting, but they are moving. UNH, I like it a lot. Let's write that one down as definitely something for a breakout play. It wants to go. It just wants to go real bad. I like the 2 candles today. We have the overhead resistance. Once we pop out of that, looks like there was some earnings out on this too, right? That caused, I don't know if there was volume yesterday. Kind of sold off a little today and then came back strong. Yeah, pre-market sell-off came back pretty strong. Tomorrow will be key on this. Get back over 310. I'd be long on this. Definitely. Even before we break out. What's the breakout on that? 316.07. Yeah. All right, so UNH here, we come back down to the end of the list here. And these Vive, that was on. Vero, nothing. Wow, you know. I mean, Verizon, it's not exciting, but there is exciting stuff to be captured here. Again, that's why IPI is a potential big mover. Way before we even talk about it, we know that a reverse split is coming up. You know, we know these reverse splits sometimes cause some really intense moves. Waste management. I hear the ice cream man outside. Holy crap, that was scary. It sounded like something like Freddy Krueger would be driving around. It was very bizarre. Yum Brands. I mean, look at this. Look at this sideways chop. You really gotta. Oh, that's it. You know, you got these big pops today. Gotta find the faster movers. That's what we're gonna start looking at. You got my list. Up here, I want to close this up by saying that on the video, you know, this was going to be an early version of it, and kind of doing it live for some people out here today, because I wasn't putting in my full amount. I had to work today, and then tomorrow I have the operation, so I'm cutting my time down. But I did a lot of things on here. We showed you the IBD 50 best stocks, which gives you a good list to look from. When you start, you know, doing your own research and making your own watch list. I think everyone needs to have a watch list and a business plan. And the business plan, you know, requires, you know, how to do business. And for me, it's like waiting for a certain setup, kind of detailing it and putting it in a very strict, you know, strict criteria. And the steps are laid out, and I do it because it's all laid out, and there's no mistaking how to do it. It's not random. It's a business. So all the tools we're using here, bots and stuff, all try to give us opportunities in the market. If you want to trade the futures, a lot of the things that we look at are, you know, the Rambot, the Rockbot, the Tradeometer. A lot of these, you know, benefit futures traders mostly, but, you know, SPY calls are great with these indicators. You know, in the money SPY calls expiring in, you know, very close to expiration, a couple days, and you could trade these, you know, if you had a setup here during the day and there was a nice divergence, like today. Let's take today for a for an example. Right here. Let's take this for example. Right around 10 o'clock, where I was really taking care of this market, following it down, identifying some patterns, and we started seeing a divergence here on the 3-minute, 5-minute time frame. And I said, from this point on, because we had this kind of a closing price, I said, put your stop under this level. And from that point on, we got a nice bounce. And we came back, but we didn't take out that stop. It was funny because, and we also put in a divergence there. That 60-10 divergence was really key on seeing that. And that was a divergence inside of a recognizable pattern. Even if you just cut those candles, these tails off, and use the closing prices, it becomes much nicer. And that's what I tend to do. Especially if there's news. These candles sometimes are just kind of noise. So it came down into our area where we looked for it. Everything lined up perfectly, and it was off to the races. And then we actually moved all the way back up before slightly breaking down, but then exploding higher on a buy program that hit the market here. Now, this was an algo that came in and just ripped the market higher. And at that point, and I got alerted to that, I subscribed to an algo watch website. It tells me when there's automated, you know, there's actually program trades, big program trades in the market. So that was one. 3 of them. There was 3 of them at the time. Market here was pulled back here at 1 o'clock, and then we started getting into this bigger pattern. But that type of pattern, we're looking for a breakout. And look at how perfect the market reacted. I remember myself saying, all right, we're pulled back, we're holding the 20, and it was a divergence. You know, you had 3 indicators lining up here. The pullback, the underlying trend line, and the 200 period moving average. And it was called what we call a 1-2-3 pattern with a retracement to the trend line. And then back up we go. Look at that divergence here. Big divergence right here. And from that point on, we moved down, and then there was a big buy side divergence here. And from that point on, we just ripped. So this is your business plan. This is the trades you should be taking. And even if you're not taking the futures, you could take this trade right here. Let's take this trade for an example. Let me. All right, back here with you. So, like I said, every criteria that's so written out for you in the methodology. You know, the divergence methodology and the HPS methodology, and how to identify a good divergence versus a weak divergence. How to, you know, measure it, you know, combine it with other patterns and know what patterns are the best. You know, this is like a martial arts studio. You eventually learn the techniques. It takes time to master them, but eventually you'll start to move different. You'll see different techniques. These are, you know, whatever you want to call it, whatever the analogy is. These are the moves. Big move here off of that, and this was earnings. All right, it was a divergence, but it also was the earnings coming out from Facebook, Amazon, and everything else, and that's where we left off right now. So right now the market here is kind of drifted and broken down. We're underneath the VWAP, we're underneath the 20, we're underneath the 50, underneath the 200 period moving average. S&P futures just up 10. We got most of that pop here after hours. But it does start to look like a pretty decent divergence here. So let me actually jump in here if I could do that. This is what I wanted to do. But I'm so like, where's my futures? Oh, I have everything set up here. Let's see. All right, I'm in. Hold on. Shit. No, I'm not. I'm in. I thought I was short. No, I'm long. I'm long. Where's my price? 32.59.85 on the MES. 32.59.75. This is a divergence. All right, I want to send this out, get it ready for tomorrow, and I'll update this early next week with anything new.